folks, and welcome back to the Real Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA. And this is Patrick Franz, the Note Mentor. We are back with my men from paperstack.com. These guys are awesome. Brett Berkey, let's go. Rick Allen. We're going to talk about paperstack.com. Folks listening, paperstack.com, paperstack.com, right, fellas? And this is a place where people can go online to either sell a note that they're holding if they want to cash out now, or it's a place where we can go as investors to have an easy process to be able to purchase one of these mortgage notes, become the bank, and collect monthly cash flow from real estate without owning the real estate, guys, right? So give them an idea again for the listeners. Maybe there's somebody new that popped on. They haven't heard us the whole time, but what's PaperStack, right? A place to buy and sell notes. As simple as that.
And then an automated workflow engine. So place is the marketplace, but also the place to close the deal. So think of it in the real estate space. We're, the market, the MLS plus the title company.
Yeah. So kind of the platform, you can go on there, you can list your notes for sale. We have over 10,000 registered users on the platform. You can go on there as a buyer, set up, save searches, have the platform notify you whenever something meets your criteria, and you can start making an offer or just opening up a chat. And what happens is it takes you and it puts you into your own transaction or your own sort of walled garden, to where all the conversations you have with your counterparty or the seller or the buyer, it all is on a timeline. So you can go back and review everything that's happened. You can respond via email and it puts it right on your timeline. You can even make a phone call on our platform. It'll record the phone call, it'll transcribe it, and it'll put everything right on your platform.
But also, why is that important? So one of the reasons why those things are important is because
great. So you have a digital audit trail,
right?
Or if you're working with a large team, you can have a team account. That way, everybody can see what's going on with this individual transaction. And it doesn't have to be an individual transaction. You could have 20 notes in a pool as part of your transaction. So everything takes place right on the platform. PaperStack generates purchase sale agreements for you. We provide transfer documents of the loan or the note and the mortgage, so the assignment and the allonge. We have escrow built into the platform. So if you're not comfortable sending your money right to the seller, you can utilize our escrow. And then we have collateral audit baked into the platform. So the seller, instead of sending the collateral directly to the buyer, they would send it to a third-party auditor who will go through and review the collateral and see what is actually wet ink and what are copies. So it's an all-encompassing platform that allows you to go buy or sell a note 100% digitally online, and it has a bunch of safety features like escrow and audit built into it.
So let's talk about them for the folks listening, right? Because I know we want to really concentrate on the investor side of it for people that want to invest into and buy a note, and PaperStack's awesome for that. But I think we forget too much to talk about the sellers, right? Some people are holding on to these mortgage notes and they're collecting monthly payments. They want cash now, but golly, they don't know many people maybe in their circle of influence that buy notes, or maybe they're not in the note business. And it's difficult to go, where do they advertise? Hey, I have this note for sale. And so it's so great. I'm going to let Brett come in. Brett, it's an amazing, website, and it's an amazing place for investors to go and buy a note. But talk a little bit, Brett, on what's the process if I hold on to a mortgage note and I want to use PaperStack to sell it. What does that look like?
They just come and first register an account, and then there's a button that says become a seller. We kind of do some vetting to make sure that the person actually selling the note is the actual note holder. We want to make sure that everyone that's selling is actually legit. And so they just go through that process. They get approved. Once they get approved, we have a couple ways they can get their assets on the platform. There's something called a tape format that they can put all their assets in, or we work with a couple of different servicers, and they can just send it over to a private email address, and it'll automate their listing area. Or they just have one or two, just create a listing, and they can add all the details, add photos, add the collateral file, place it public or private, it matters which ones they want people to see and not to see, add pay history, and then just set it live, and they'll get a lot of action usually, because if it's a good note, like he said, there's 10,000 buyers that are on there that have safe searches set up. And as soon as that note hits the platform, they all get emails saying, hey, this meets your buying criteria. And they usually jump on there. And I've had deals go first day.
Yeah, I've sold deals that have gone in the first hour.
Yeah, it's crazy. Some guy came one time and had a bunch of land notes in Colorado. And we were talking on the phone. He's like, do you think this is going to sell? And I was looking at it just like, it looks like rocks to me. And then there was a bunch, just a pool of Colorado notes, and called him back. He called me back later that day. And he's like, I'm in a transaction. I'm already closing this pool of notes. I was like, wow. Okay. So, but people have different buying criteria.
Yeah. I think it's also kind of important. People, they say, well, are these bad notes? Is that why they're selling them? And there's not, Patrick. I mean, you guys know, you've been buying and selling notes. People will sell notes for any number of reasons. Maybe they bought it as a non-performing note. They turned it performing, and they're just going to make the, it's now got higher value as a note, just like you're flipping a house. You buy one that needs to be painted, and new carpet and a new kitchen. Well, once you do that, you sell it for a higher value. It doesn't make it a bad house. But the same thing happens with notes. There's a lot of reasons why people sell the notes. Sometimes they hit hardships and they say, look, I just need to cash out. I need to put the money elsewhere. Or maybe they're winding down some of our institutional sellers, which, are hedge funds, stuff like that. They've been managing a fund, and now they're winding down the fund, and this is what's left over. They have to sell it.
Or the other ones are, a lot of times the big funds will buy a big pool, and some of these notes that get thrown in there, they just have to be in there, and they don't meet the buy box of what fits their criteria for their fund. They just throw it onto the site, and that note's great, but it's just legally they're not allowed to have it in their portfolio, so they just let it go.
Yeah, another one is we have a lot of elderly folks who, in their 80s, they're listing stuff for sale on the platform, or giving them to brokers to do it for them, because they say, look, I've got 30 notes. I'm a realist. I know the end is kind of near. I don't want my kids to have to deal with this. I'm just going to turn them all into cash. So I set it aside, and they can go ahead and then divide up the cash and not have to worry about the headaches of the notes.
So you're correct, a million reasons.
Right? We can go down the list and talk about that forever on
a million reasons.
Yeah.
Here's the idea though, folks. Maybe there's listeners, right? Whether it's on KCAA or iHeart or any of the other platforms where this radio show is listened to, that you may be one of those people. You may be in a situation where you're holding on to a note. You're holding on to a promissory note that's backed by land or backed by a single family home or something like that. And you may want to cash out. There's a reason maybe you want your cash now. And so you can get on PaperStack, and I want to tell them, folks, just by analogy, it's as easy as Craigslist. Okay. Just go on there, open yourself an account, and go through the steps to post your note. Post your note up for sale on there. And there's a lot of hungry buyers. It's like casting a chicken leg into a lake of piranha, if you would, isn't it, guys? You'll get some juice. There will be somebody that will want to buy your note off of paperstack.com. And guys, again, PaperStack without the K. Can you spell it for them in case they want to go visit?
PAPERSTAC.com.
PAPERSTAC.com, paperstack.com. Okay, guys, they're building the number one place, the number one online portal website, if you would, a place to buy and sell these mortgage notes. And I preach it because I think it's one of the best investment vehicles that there are. And so somebody maybe goes to the Note Investor University, they get all this education, they figure out how to buy these notes, they know what they're doing, they get on PaperStack as an investor now. And so there's all these folks that are posting notes through you guys. There's how many notes do you have for sale right now on your platform? I bet you know the number. I bet Brett knows.
We had close to 185, 200, somewhere in there. It varies.
Yeah, some just dropped off. We don't let stuff sit stagnant. So after 30 days, if the note has not been updated, it goes into a expired. And so someone had their notes expired. I know who it is, but yeah, they need to update this stuff so it stays fresh if you want fresh data. But usually between like 250 to 150.
Sure. Bottom line, you got close to 200 assets that people are wanting cash now for. They're posting these assets, these cash flowing notes on PaperStack. There's almost 200 of them on there, guys. So as an investor, once you know what you're doing and you get educated by somewhere, somehow, reading books, YouTube, doing a coaching group like the NIU, whatever it is, but get your education so that you can be confident that you can go and work with these guys at PaperStack if there's an asset on their website that you like, right? It might be a great investment for you, and learn how to go on there as an investor and buy one of these things, man. You got to own a mortgage note in your portfolio. So someone goes, Brett, to your website and they say, hey, I'm going to start looking through 200 notes and try to find one that I like. What's the process like when they find one that they like? What do they do?
Message the seller, ask for, hey, we always tell them to do the simple stuff up front. Look at the seller comments, read that. That's a story. Look at the note details and the property details. There you can see, how much is on the EPB, when the last payment date is, maturity dates, all those things that should not be asked up front. You can get a lot of data there. You can see if they have files included with it. Once you start a transaction, just go look in the files tab. You can do a lot of armchair due diligence just off the bat. And then once you need to actually ask for more stuff, just tell the seller, hey, you have this type of information. Most are very willing to give because they're trying to sell the note, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. They all know the drill. We call it a transaction. Some people get scared off. Hey, I'm not starting a transaction, just starting a conversation. Same thing. It's just the same thing.
One of the things that I really like about that platform, guys, to be honest, when I first got on PaperStack, I guess when it was a very brand new website, and again, you guys have come so far. I've enjoyed watching it and watching it develop, but the communication between buyer and seller, right? When you're dealing with note brokers in this industry, oftentimes the note broker wants to hold that information back and relay information and this and that and the other. But, when you're buying and selling these mortgage notes, it's very important that you be able to talk to the owner, the principal seller of that asset. And what a great thing you guys have done through PaperStack to be able to allow that to happen between buyer and seller, and PaperStack sort of stays out of the way until need be, and when the transaction needs to take place. And the buyer and seller can negotiate with each other all day long, right? They're having a certain asking price when they post the note for sale on PaperStack, just like somebody has a certain asking price of a Harley motorcycle they're posting for sale on Craigslist. You can go there, and if you like it, you can get right in contact with the person selling that asset, and you can bargain with them. You can give them an offer. You can ask them for information. You can go back and forth to make sure in the end, through your personal investment criteria, through your due diligence standards, then you're able to decipher whether this is an asset that you actually wire money on and want to take ownership of. And PaperStack does an awesome job of helping facilitate all of that communication. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to take our last commercial break here for just a few minutes. And if you want to know more about these notes and how to buy notes off PaperStack, create passive cash flow, then do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after this message. Bye-bye.